iti mensahe iti kanta.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we'll walk hand in hand someday. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall not afraid someday. The whole wide world around, the whole wide world around, the whole wide world around someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
Once again, good morning.
Morning.
Today I have decided not to preach a sermon that I have entirely made. I have always believed that the pulpit is not the place where we rant or express our opinions on certain matters. I have always believed that the word should take hold of us, preachers, and as we grapple and wrestle with the text, we dig in and ask, what is the Lord saying to us from this passage? And what is the Lord saying to us believers in this time and place? How do we apply and live out the lessons we learn? As I was preparing for the message today, I came across a piece by the Presbyterian Outlook editor, Jill Duffel, who helps pastors reflect on the lectionary readings. And I would like us to reflect on her message. I have changed it only a bit to suit our specific context. She started by saying, the man born blind knows isolation. He knows social distancing. See how his disciples reacted when they saw this man blind from birth, and they immediately went into the blame game. The disciples asked, who sinned, the man or his parents? The cause of the man's blindness and subsequent existence in the margins of society, yung tinatawag nating na nasa laylayan ng lipunan, is assumed to be the result of sin's cause and effect, a quid pro quo. The disciples immediately jumped to a conclusion. Given this man's painful circumstances can be justified, and those not so afflicted can distance themselves and rest easy that nothing similar has or will befall them. He deserves his faith, and therefore we can ignore his suffering. Then, as of now, human beings want to think we are in control And if things are going well, well, we deserve our good fortune. Jesus, however, tells a different story in this series of exchanges. The mind's blindness is in fact not the result of his sin nor his parents' sin. Whatever the cause of this man's blindness, Jesus will use it to reveal the work of God. What the disciples and the community understood as an occasion for judgment and distance, Jesus made a place of grace, healing, and inclusion. I wonder, as fewer of us worship together and more of us find normal routines disrupted as a result of the spreading COVID-19 virus, how will we react to this crisis? What will we assume? And how will Jesus seek to reveal himself, correct our wrong understandings, and bring healing? Could this crisis, if we respond rightly, be an occasion for more radical care, greater compassion, and wider inclusion? Or will we miss the opportunity to show the love of God to those most in need of it? No one will be unaffected by this pandemic. Jill Duffield wrote, "My daughter, a freshman in college, is now home for the foreseeable future. My high school senior will be at home too, at least for a day, perhaps for much longer. The markers of March are upended. No madness or weekly worship or spring break trips. More painfully, visiting loved ones in nursing homes and in other places is strongly discouraged, if not totally prohibited. I myself am fortunate to be here now. I asked my colleagues in the NCCP before the President declared the community quarantine if, when it is declared, if I should go back immediately to Metro Manila. They kindly said that it was better if I was at home and monitor things from the outside because they and I did not know how things will be in the next few weeks. As you probably have seen, whole grocery store aisles are rendered empty as those who are able to stock up on toilet paper and alcohol and bleach and hand sanitizers began to panic buy and hoard. Those already on the edge and margin of society are being pushed closer to falling off. Families experiencing food insecurity, yung sinasabing nagpapanik lang dahil wala namang pangbaying, tried to push the limits of the quarantine. That was why the first 48 hours and the first day of the so-called community quarantine was chaotic, as there were no clear guidelines laid down except sumunod na lang kayo. Just obey. So those of us who had the chance crowded the terminals. You probably saw it on the television. No social distancing at all. And what was sought to be contained became the cause for the possible faster spread of the virus, as those in Metro Manila went home to the provinces and may have served as carriers and spreaders. The first day was equally chaotic as people sought to go to their places of work, which took them from 3 to 6 hours to go through the checkpoints, which have only two thermal scanners each. And so it became an enhanced community quarantine. At least now they are calling it as it really is, a lockdown. This crisis is revealing how perilously many of our neighbors, if not us, live. If we were blind to this truth before, this pandemic should force us to see it now. We, like the disciples in John's Gospel, may have been tempted to look at those on the edge, if we saw them at all, and assume that their plight was somehow their fault. In the wake of travel bans, school closures, event cancellations, and the realization of our interconnectedness and the ripple effect of these necessary disruptions, Will our eyes be open to those in our community and around the world who have been marginalized and are excluded? Can this crisis become an occasion for our belief in Jesus to alter not only our understanding of the man born blind, but our treatment of him? Can this anxious season become an occasion to reveal the work of God in us and among us and through us? Friends, brothers and sisters, we have no idea how long this public health crisis will last, nor the extent or duration of its many repercussions. We do know, if we will receive the sight Jesus came to give, that those on the fringes and margins, those barely getting by or hardly holding on, are hurting. They were before this pandemic. They are now, and they will be after this is over. Too many of God's beloved children are isolated, socially distanced, walked over, unseen, and left out. Jesus tells us in this text that their circumstances are decidedly not a result of their sin and ought instead to be an occasion to reveal the loving, healing, compassionate work of God. As we church people seek to be faithful in these tumultuous times, the question we must ask ourselves are, who is the most vulnerable? Who is the most easily disregarded in our community? Is it the international students remaining on mostly empty university campuses? People working without paid leave, health insurance, and now much needed income? Healthcare professionals who are exhausted and overstretched? Those who clean the spaces we want to know are safe? Workers dependent on the travel industry? The ordinary police who are ordered to man the checkpoints? The balut or tahu vendors, and those who are in the informal or underground economy? Those who are living in urban poor communities whose houses are squeezed next to each other? The list is long and differs from one community to the next. What is consistent, no matter where we are, is the reality that this illness is indiscriminate. We are inextricably connected to and dependent upon each other. When one part of the body suffers, we all suffer. The social inequality, however, reveals a big gap. The rich and the famous can get tested and can be attended to. The rest of us cannot, especially for the poor whose first concern is food on the table. How can they even wash hands when there is no water? How can they even sanitize with alcohol or sanitary gels when they do not even have enough to eat? We can no longer be blind to those all around us in need of life's basic necessities of food, water, shelter, healthcare, community, and love. We can no longer be blind to this. Can disciples of Jesus stop looking for ways to blame people for their painful circumstances and instead look for ways to reveal the work of God in their lives, in our communities, in our country, and in our world? If ever there was a time to come together as the church and show others the healing love of Jesus, this time is it. And as we prayerfully discern how to do ministry, virtually or remotely, let's remember those for whom isolation and social distance has been the norm, not the exception. Let us see them and ask God to reveal to us how we can extend the healing love of Jesus Christ. My prayers are with all of you as you face the challenges and risks that this pandemic brings. We are not alone. Christ can and will do more than we can hope or imagine. May the peace of Christ be with you, and may God use this crisis as an occasion to bring us closer, increase our care for each other, and show the world we are Christians by and through our love. Amen.